Hi class, this is Dr. Dilmar. We've been working on MLA style papers and I thought a video walking through some of the key components might help you. I'm going to show you some of the specifics that you must attend to. You've probably gotten this information in other formats, either through the school or other online formatting resources. However, this video should supplement that information. Some of the key things that I'll show you are things that you may or may not be doing, and this is a good chance for you to self-assess. You might even want to have a paper up in front of you and kind of look at it as you go step by step through the video. We'll hop right in. This is a PDF version of an MLA paper. I am going to show you some of the components using this PDF version, and then I'm going to hop over to a Word document version so that I can show you how to make some slight adjustments. Let's get started. So you'll see at the top right, there's the student's last name, because in this case, the student is Jane Doe, and the last name and the page number is at the top right of the paper. You can see that the same font used through the entire paper is also used within the page number and within that last name that's there. So you're using 12 point, it's Times New Roman font. That's the font that you should use for everything. So if you put your last name and the page number at the top right and it doesn't appear to be in Times Roman, you can double click, highlight, and change that font to the same font that's the rest of the paper. You'll also notice at the top left is the student name, professor name, the course title, and the date. As long as that information is there and it's double spaced and formatted appropriately as far as in the font, I'm not particularly worried if you put your middle initial, or you put the word professor, or you put the number behind the class, or even if February, for example, in this case, came before the 12. As long as those key components are present, that's what matters. Then you'll notice there's a title. You can use a specific title, excuse me, or you can use, just say this was the number 3 paper. You could say written report number 3 or paper number 3. It's not really about what you title the paper unless a professor obviously tells you to use a certain title. In my case, for my classes, for your papers, you're just putting a title, one line, and it's just double spaced with the rest of your paper. You'll notice the first paragraph starts with an indentation, and you'll notice in this sample, all paragraphs are indented. You'll also notice there's no additional spaces. There's no additional spaces here between the date and the title. There's no additional spaces between the title and the paragraph. And even between paragraphs, there's not an additional space. I'll show you another. No additional spaces. It's just the normal double spacing. So how do you take those extra spaces out that sometimes come automatically in your Word document? Here's where I'll show you in the Word document how to do that. I recommend you actually just highlight your entire paper and do this, but you could also do it in a specific section, such as here. Sometimes when you right-click, it'll say remove spaces or add spaces. If it doesn't come up there, depending on what version of Word you use, you can go to Home, and then you can go to the paragraph section, and here is your spacing. So it's either 1 or 2 double spaced. But there's an extra space between paragraphs. How do I take that out? You'll go to remove space, because if the word remove is there, then that means there is an extra space already present. If this said add, so if it said add here and add here, that means there is no extra spaces and you're good. But since the word is remove, that means there is an extra space and I have to remove it. So I'm going to click remove. And now I went back to my double spacing. There is no extra space. So I'll show you what that looks like now. Again, you possibly could right click, and in some cases it comes up, it'll already say add or remove. If not, you'll go to your home button, the paragraph section, open that little area up, and you see it says add here. So that means there is no extra space because we don't want to add anything. Please make sure that you remove any extra spaces because you do not need that in your paper. I'll go back to the Word version. excuse me, the PDF version. This is just a cleaner version because I downloaded it originally in PDF. But I wanted to show you in Word how that works. For my papers, you can see that you lose a lot of landscape here with the page number and the title here on the first page. So if you have a 2-page paper to write, you should be writing this, and about a paragraph into your third page. 2 pages and a paragraph gives you 2 full pages of content. If you're supposed to write 1-page paper, then you need 1 page and a paragraph. 1 page and a paragraph equals 1 page of content because of how much you're losing here at the top left of the paper. So please make sure you attend to that. Hopefully no one's cutting the papers so close that you're just doing the bare minimum, but if you are at that point, you at least need to make sure that you're writing the 1 page and 1 paragraph for a 1-page paper, and so forth and so on. Now, there's other things here that you don't necessarily need. None of my papers are that particularly long, and if you have headers or subheaders, you can certainly look at this sample paper and, emulate how those look, but none of my papers really should have many headers or subheaders. I will tell you that some people put these on there and they're indicative of AI. So if AI is giving you those subtitles, you should not be using those because you should not be using AI to write your papers anyway. And I'm going to attend to that in just a moment, actually. But for now, I'm just scrolling, looking to the end at the Works Cited page. Again, Works Cited, you have the last name of the student and your page number because that's on every page. Works with an S, it's not work, it's Works Cited. Even if you have 1 reference, it's still Works Cited. And you'll notice that there's no extra spaces in between the title here, the header, and the first reference. There's no extra spaces in between the 2 references. And only the first line is fully justified to the left. All the other lines of the reference are indented, and then no space, and it starts the second reference. There are definitely formatting rules for every type of reference. For our purposes, I'm not going to necessarily go into all of the periods and italics and colons and things of that nature. I do want you to make an attempt, obviously, to try to use your MLA formatting. So, for example, if you have a book versus a research paper versus an online document, there's different reference formatting, but you don't need to get totally wrapped up on that. It's really more about Works Cited and the first line not being indented, and then every other space being indented and not having extra spaces. So I've explained to you guys how to find the sample paper, and now I've given you a website, and now I've given you a video in addition to the website, and that's obviously just to support those other resources you already have through the university or the school, to ensure that you have proper access to formatting. I hope this helps. Thank you. Have a great day. Yikes, I forgot. AI. Please do not use AI to write your papers. AI is supposed to be a helpmate or a support resource. And so one of the things that you can do is use AI to find information, but you're still, just like any other resource, having to put it in your own words and synthesize the material. So you should not be letting AI write your papers. You should have your natural tone, and it shouldn't be so academic that it's not your voice coming through. No paper is going to be graded on whether or not you've copied and pasted information in so explicitly that you don't have your voice, right? It's like you're not going to be faulted by writing like a student at your caliber should be writing. You should not be writing like a PhD student or a professor who's been writing for 20 years. There is no expectation for you to sound that way. And it would be odd if you submitted a paper like that. If you sound like a computer wrote your paper, then that's not good. So use AI to help you maybe narrow things down, find research, find information, but then you still need to do the same thing that you would be doing back before AI, which is writing your own paper and synthesizing that information. Most of the time there's a little bit of a flow, and it's kind of like what I call a Goldilocks effect, like right in the middle, not too hot, not too cold. In this case, not too much of the academics and not too much of your own voice. It should be synthesized. It should be a summary. It should be you connecting the material and connecting the information. So hopefully that makes sense, but please attend to that in your future papers. Thank you.